next day, yeah, it just felt different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you recognise the shift in feeling? Were you not feeling well after that? Halfway through?
Yeah, I had somebody at work had a tummy bug, and I had gotten it as well.
Yep.
And it kind of, I knew it was on its way, and then it was, hello.
Okay, perfect. Okay, just a reflection, perfect creation, because that would have helped push the shift through on an energetic level.
You know what? That's so funny that you say that, because I was like, so I was sick all night, and I went to work, and I went, I feel so much better than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
And although I had been up all night, I felt really clear.
Brilliant. Yeah. That makes sense, because I said to Gabrielle I'd messaged her to check on you, but then I realised she'd already done it. But I actually was feeling the nausea myself when I tuned into you when I went to bed that night. So I was kind of aware that, and it was more for me about an energetic shift. And sometimes I had one also last week of something going through, and I blamed the food and everything else. And but God, it was a huge energy movement. So and it was just physically felt. So I was just wanting to bring a bit more. I gathered you may have worked it out, but just a reflective.
It was awesome. I mean, I ended up being sick most of the week, but it was so funny. I was saying to someone, I don't feel bad though. Like, my body is saying you're not well, but I was feeling kind of fine. Yeah,
but behind it, it's like, okay, my body's going through this, but I'm actually okay.
Yeah, which was really kind of cool. And I actually read into it a different way, but talking about it now, it's very different.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Hey, Vanessa.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how are we all?
Good, how are you?
How's life on the farm at Vanessa's house?
Did you say on the farm?
Yeah, I did, for some reason. Are you on your farm yet?
It feels like a farm someday.
Okay, that may be it then.
So, I had a really interesting week. So I've been really consciously watching when I'm resisting and when I'm allowing.
Yeah.
Which has been fascinating, and noticing that I'm much more in that allowing space. And had a really cool thing last week. My husband had an accident in our chop top van. So that's our business's van that we use to deliver the stock. And when he had the accident, there was just no reaction in me when he rang to tell me at all. And I just felt totally clear and present and okay with what was happening.
Yep.
And in that space, I just had the perfect thing to say to him just flow through me.
Yeah.
Which was really lovely. And he kept on saying to me, but I've had an accident. And I just kept on going, and it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. And he kept on saying, but I've had an accident, Vanessa. And I just did not buy into his story at all. I just went, it's all okay. And we can deal with whatever that means.
Yeah.
So that was really lovely.
Love it. That's lovely. My husband had an accident this week, and it was lovely. Yeah. What are you taking?
They all feel like I've absolutely lost the plot. Like I'm a Fruit Loop, and it was really lovely to have. If it had to happen, it was lovely to have an opportunity to go. This is the space I'm in because of, all of that. It actually does make a difference in your life and how you react to those situations. So, if you want to make a good story about it, then I went, that was really positive.
Yep.
But again, that's just a story I'm creating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was great. And then we went to Sovereign Hill on Saturday. with the kids, and 10,000 other people thought they would go to Sovereign Hill as well. Which was all fine during the day because Sovereign Hill's quite big and people were spread out, and I was really interested watching people's reactions because we just had a lovely day and we made fun of it, and even when we had to queue to get in the lolly store, we were like, it was fun, it was joyous, and it was all good. And I could hear people around me whinging and complaining. Like I heard one lady going, you know, that's $320 I'll never get back. So watching different people's perspectives and, you know, that choice we always have about what we make it was quite interesting. And so I was having a lovely day. And then we went for the Winter Wonderland Festival. So if you've ever been to Sovereign Hill, there's that main strip where all the shops are. And they had a light festival. I think it might be finished now with the school holidays, where they put lights on the buildings at night.
Yep.
So what that meant was that all 10,000 people who'd been there during the day all converged on that one main strip of shops, and it was just shoulder to shoulder people. And you know when you got people like pushing you to get through, and prams being pushed into your legs, and I was aware that I quite lost it. In that moment. I was standing there in this crowd of people, in this sea of people, and I was aware of the people who you know, were quite joyous and happy even though they were in amongst 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And I was aware that I allowed myself to feel unsafe and threatened, and you know, that was the choice I made in the moment. So yeah.
It's nice to sit inside yourself and watch yourself and be aware of those, you know, systems playing out, and then what you want to feed that, and you know, and what rolls on from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was aware when we got in the car, and it was also freezing cold, and when I got in the car and I was warm and I felt safe, I was like, I could have chosen, you know, I could have made another choice.
Yeah.
You know, but that was the choice I made, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not beating it up, it's just is what it is.
Yeah,
and experiencing it for that. Yeah. Oh, awesome! 10,000 people, go you.
Yeah. We thought it was just our good idea.
Oh, everybody heard your idea. Yeah. Thought they'd join you.
So it's been a really lovely week. I love that, being in that witness place. You know, it feels like from there you can make, you know, you can be more aware of the choices you're making.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Oh, awesome. Kind of reflected on it, just made me think of last week with Cindy leaving and not feeling well, and my thought afterwards was to message Gabrielle to get her to check on her because she had contact with her, and instantly she says, I've already done that. And it's like, and a couple of times it come to my mind, have you checked on Cindy, you know, whatever, and it's literally I'd be thinking it and she'd send me a message, I've just checked on Cindy, blah blah, and it's like, oh, cool, you know. So like it was just continuous, and I was just thinking, you know, it is that simple, you know, it is that simple. And that whole, the funniest thing is I've been kind of programming my format of lifeofali and on my Instagram account, and it's kind of methodically going in this lovely pattern, and it's quite creative art, and I'm kind of into that shit, so I thought I'd do it on this one in particular. But it had me stumped on this one face. You know, I've been using the Bitmojis every now and then, and I needed a Bitmoji to go in, and it's been like a week sitting there trying to work out what the shit Bitmoji I'm going to use. And I've looked at things, and I've sat with things, and things have come to me, and I go, oh yeah, I must do that, and then it'll go. And I was like, anyway, tonight appeared, and it had this zip across. I know, and I was thinking telepathy. Because that's what I've had all week with Gabrielle, and it's like just that whole conversation of thinking, and then she'll be, you know, there'll be a message, or it was just instantaneous. So that's sort of the playground that came to arise after last week.
Beautiful.
But what about you two girls that have been away in, you know, the native land of Australia? And I'll make sure it's the Grampians. Is that pronounced right? what insights and fun and what beingness did you discover? Oh, can I just say that land is pretty amazing. The picture you sent with the guy lying down looking at the sky, oh my gosh, that energy up there must be pretty surreal.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's funny, I feel like there was a bit of a theme there about ease, and that was really present for me this week. So I've had this thing about wanting to take Patty up to my mum's place in the Grampians. But I was like, oh, it just feels like, because it's 5 hours from here, I'm like, oh, I don't know how he's going to travel in the car. But I tell you, it was like a flash of the eye, and Patty and me and Rochelle and her 3 gorgeous children, it was like, we just got there.
Oh, awesome. Because that is it. But again, it's that mentality and thinking that you're going on a long trip and you've got friggin' kids that are we there yet? Scenario. And we're playing this tune, so therefore are they just matching us? And because you two are probably a bit more cruisy, it is what it is, and we'll swing it. And so they went into that whole reflection of just chilling out and knowing that they're going to get there, and it's just enjoy the journey.
Yeah, it was yeah. And we certainly did. I think within half an hour of leaving the house, are we nearly
there? Yeah. The prime child singing song, isn't it? Are we there yet? Yeah.
But it was just like, it just felt so easy. It was so easy to
That's
me.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
For you. How about you, Rochelle?
Trying to steal Rochelle's perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was delightful. It was so delightful. My favorite part was when we went up for a walk with all the children and just having that no timeline and being in such pristine nature. It's such a beautiful mix, and I loved the way that they could go off over there and explore, and then they could go off over there and make their rock creatures, and then if one of them needed to double back, and then they'd all double back, and it was so okay. It was so beautiful. It was easy. The rapport between Gabrielle and I, and the comfort between the children was just like, that was really gorgeous. I loved that, if there was ever life comes up, if a kid melts down or there's discomfort, or, you mean sitting in the car too long, that they were just like bubbles, and then they turn into a dance party, or, or an eruption of laughter. And it was just so gorgeous. It's so in step of like, I don't know, just allowing. I love witnessing children and how we allow them. I think I needed that today because I was feeling an array of myself, and it was, but allowing, oh, it's fine, just allow it, and then it goes. But it also at the same time special. It was just special, especially when you get these random like, hey, let's go do this thing, and it was
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And in the dynamics of the kids, because you got like you've got obviously your children, then you've got Gabrielle's, and so like I think Gabrielle was saying how they just, like she said, I didn't have to play mother sort of thing. I could step back. And
I didn't even, I had to totally step back as well and just be like, okay, it's your time with him. Okay, quick, no one's looking, we can cuddle. Quick, no, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, how gorgeous. He would have loved it. Oh, awesome. Okay, well, let's stroll into it, even though we have anyway. Anyone got anything they want to bring up, discuss, chat, or points of interest, perspectives, anything shared, or questions? I love this part. Let's just sit for a moment. Don't all speak at once. Okay, see you later.
I don't have any more questions. I can't even come up with one.
And that's an interesting stage in itself, I think, when you realise the question is the formulation of the next experience.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you realise there is nothing to question anymore.
Yeah.
And saying that I think there's a never-ending stream of infinite flow of experiences and thoughts and beings and whatever you want to play in, and there'll be times that you'll enjoy that playground and you'll go there and you'll experience that for what it is. And I think when you're sitting in the boat at the moment and it's all just happening and it's all okay, it's all just and that word of allowing comes to mind, and it's it's all perfect.
I had a really big day actually.
Awesome. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah.
As I'm loving to play in the work arena currently.
Oh, yes.
So I went to work yesterday and I had the most beautiful customers, which it's not where I work. A lot of the customers don't like to be served, so you don't actually get to interact with them. But I just had beautiful customers all day. And then I went to work today. And first thing in the morning was, we want you to work in the office 5 days a week, which was like, is totally fine. I did go into a bit of a shock and went into a bit of a spin. And it was fine. I was like, that was really nice that I got to have a wonderful day yesterday. I'll probably still work in the store a couple of weeks, but that's it. Then I kind of had some big news about somebody that was kind of running the web. She was classified the web store manager. She won't be returning. And then the person that I wanted to work with me kind of said something just like, we used to, and I just love him. He's so gorgeous. He was like, yeah, we were a great team. When we were running it, and I'd asked if he could come and help me run it. And I also found out, which we knew was happening, that we're moving, which is kind of a big thing as well. Like, we've had head office where it is for over 40 years. So to move it. So it was kind of a big day, and it was really interesting. So because I've managed stores before, and then we got a manager in, and I was like, I don't need to deal with any of this shit anymore. I can let go of all these things. But it's really interesting, and I kind of had stopped enjoying going to work. Like, I was like, And then today, when I found out the changes and the manager has actually gone overseas for 5 weeks, I was like, I had suddenly had this reignition of like this passion. And it was really, it was really lovely to experience. I was like, this is what I loved about my job. And then I was like, so I'll come in tomorrow early and I'll do this and I'll do that. And it felt really nice. So it's a big day.
I'm loving it, because if we reflect on last week, like the contrast of how you enjoyed the office more than you enjoyed going on the floor. Yeah. And so we brought it to our awareness, and we spoke about it, and you transitioned something big, because we know that the illness attracted, and we'll use that as the energy shift and blah, 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 make a good story. So in reflection, it shifted you into a full role of your enjoyment.
Yeah, cool.
So, so just by processing as we did last week, and easily it is literally conscious conversations. It's just chatting with the awareness of your understanding how you function between the office scenario and the store floor, and your preference, and then getting a deeper awareness of what it was showing you. Once it's showing you, it doesn't have to be there anymore. So the simplicity of shifting and changing yourself removes the obstacle, which was the non-enjoyment part. And this is what I always say to people, is focus on what you do enjoy and become aware of those things, because automatically you change, the reflection will change.
Yeah.
And so it's given that. So I got that out of, which I think's huge. If you look at, what was that, 7 days ago to this point of today.
Yeah. So it was pretty amazing. And I haven't felt, it's been
the excitement. So there's a couple of things. The thing for me, I've written a few things, but I think the main thing is we understand that the transition you shared and understanding a difference in yourself last chat room has gone. It's moved already. And it's brought you into a place of which is more aligned with your being at this present point in time. So I think that's really cool. The excitement and change has actually got me going. So there's something about acknowledging the thrive in change with you. Like when there's change about it ignites excitement, which is quite interesting because change can be quite controversial for a lot of people. They don't like it. So I'm curious that you could share a perspective of what excites you about change.
It doesn't always necessary. Like you know what? I used to think I liked regimen. Like I'd get up at a certain time every morning. I've got all these routines, but I've let go of a lot of those, which is really interesting, and it's been quite conscious.
Yeah. So
it's new and it's different, and it doesn't have to be a big change, but it's
okay.
different.
It's new and it's different, which means you're new and different in its own reflection.
Yeah, and it's endless possibilities.
Well, and you now see yourself with endless possibilities. So that's the more excitement, which is if you give us the contrast of how you used to look at it, change, like you said, it wasn't the space, but now how you've embraced this. Because my big thing is about having, and it was a thought that came up today. So it's interesting that we're talking about it tonight. So obviously there was something in that. Which I'm just acknowledging, which is a ramble. But anyway, I kind of went on to a point where how people cope in constant change. And because it's moment by moment by moment by moment, but the controlled environment don't like that. They don't like that. It's got to be very much, it's a secure, safe place to be. They've got the conformity, that they know where they are, they know what's happening there. Your children go to school at this time, they finish at this time, and this is what happened. And it's a society thing. And then when they're thrown into chaos where nothing, or something dramatic is happening, they go into a fear-based arena. Whereas when you're coming from a whole awareness and find excitement or allowing whatever's going on without your the shifts and changes you slip into, which a lot of people in change in an office can put fear, worry, stress, blah blah blah. Have I got a job? What are we moving? Is this going to be convenient? And it's now shifting. Where am I going to be? Blah blah blah. And so the story goes. So yeah, sorry. Go.
No, I was going to say, when you were speaking, I was thinking the difference, and Gabrielle I'm sure would vouch for this. I was really regimented in probably, and I still am in certain areas. Like, no, I can't do that, and it's all fear driven. Where I know I'm safe in this.
Yeah. So
I feel free. There's freedom. I feel free and I feel safe. And safety is a big thing for me. And
okay, let's go there. So I'm just, why do you feel safe in this and yet it's in change? That's kind of like a contrast in itself.
I know my job. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go.
I know my job's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, work and home are the two big things that make me feel safe. I've got a home to go to and I've got a job to go to. I feel safe.
Yeah, that's a cool cool general discussion. If we broke it down into self, because home and work is only a reflection of self. So where's your safety within yourself, reflecting through those jobs? If somebody was coming into discussion, that's where you'd go. Do you know what I mean? That looking at what work's teaching you and what home's teaching you, the security of having that, what does that empower you with when you can be empowered without it?
That's a big one. Yeah.
Food for thought.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
It's big.
I love what you bring to the table each week, Cindy, because it's so real. This is what we're dealing with. You're so vulnerable. At the end of the day, going back and we spoke about contrast last week, and I know that you've gone back and looked at that and dealt through, looked at yourself through that and found your own epiphanies through that. and that's what I mean, not only for you, but for other people. Last week's video, we're getting a lot of feedback on how good, you know, because it's connecting. And I think that's what I think. I don't want to miss the safety thing, because the safety thing is relevant to humanity, not just you. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. So this, you know, where aren't we feeling safe in life, and where aren't we, you know, why aren't we feeling safe? You know, those sort of things. And we can go there, but I'm feeling that I hammer you each week, and only because I love it, because you've got so much to share and offer to humanity, and understanding ourselves better through your experience, because you are our experience, and you trigger a lot in everyone else, as you trigger in me, to make me start going, wow, you know.
When you're speaking, I know what the safety thing is.
Cool.
With work, it's not feeling good enough, like I'm not good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just, and so feeling like I've got a job and they're happy with my performance and I'm trying hard.
Yes, I tick their box.
Yeah. And, you know,
Self-worth.
sometimes, totally. So that's what that is.
Cool.
Yeah.
So ticking the self-worth, self-value, and self-love sort of thing, that comes down to those things. And that was work, wasn't it? So home is, so if we're trying to break the two aspects of self.
Oh, that's self-love.
Again?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's that nurturing of yourself.
Yeah. Which is
home.
Hey, perfect example. So the understanding of the whole being, and if you want to get into the, you know, positive, negative, whatever, that whole experience and understanding, self-love is the place to play from, right? Everything else is going to show that back to you when you're not loving yourself.
Yeah.
So beautiful that you've got kind of peeled back a few onion layers to find the lack of self-value, self-worth, and fairness of whatever's playing through that aspect of yourself, and it's coming back to that, because everything comes down to loving yourself, and even the trusting yourself is having that love with yourself, because there's a knowing. If you just break it down to love or fear, there's only two domains. Yet what's right or wrong, and are they different? That's another chat. You know.
It's interesting, because I feel like I nurture myself in the home.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about one of the Nordic countries are the happiest people in the world this week. I don't know what came to mind. And the country, I can't remember the details, but the country has very little light throughout the year in comparison to other countries, and it's because of the way they decorate their homes. It's nurturing. Apparently, this is the philosophy behind it, and that's why they believe that they are one of the happiest.
So obviously nurturing is being reflected at this particular point in time to you. So do you feel that in life you've ever had lack of nurture, you know, being nurtured?
By myself, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I've been like, got to put on your big girl pants and get on out there and do what you need to do.
Yeah, and you can't be emotional. Yeah.
Well, not so much, but I have to function. And at the moment, I'm like, I don't feel well. I'm going to stay until bed until midday on my day off and read a book if that's what I feel like, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Rather without guilt. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an awesome share. I'm just still fascinated talk about it one week and whoops, it's all changed this week. Yeah. How cool. Okay.
That's amazing, me too, because you always say it's so simple, it's so easy, and that was a lovely example.
Yeah, just talk about it over a cup of tea.
Yeah. So true. Wake up the next day and it's changed.
Yeah. I love it.
Can I just add something on the safety thing? Because
go for it.
That's been coming up in my life, and then obviously it came up in amongst the 10,000 people at Sovereign Hill, because that's safe.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, true.
Yeah, but what I've been playing with last week was that in that space of allowing and sitting in that space of allowing whatever was to be and everything to be perfect, and that there was nothing to do, that I needed to know, that lovely space. I reached this point where I realized that I'm the source of everything that I need. And that in that there was this sense that I no longer needed any, external circumstance or person in order to give me what I need. So I felt incredibly safe that I could create whatever I needed, and I didn't need anyone else to do it or to give it to me.
Yet the contrast happened.
Yeah, at Sovereign Hill.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's okay, because contrast is just there to show you what you
Yeah.
want.
Well, yeah. I'm kind of not convinced in that. I'm just kind of winging the ramble that's going to follow. Okay, so I'm just going to go there because there is something there, and I just want to see if we can unweave the woven, whatever it is. The contrast. So you've got contrast in the space of. It's really interesting you use the terminology and go. You'll watch it again, and so you'll just listen to the words that you may have used. There was something in there that's modelled you into this. Into that space, and it's almost like that space almost separated the contrast space, yet they're the same space.
You've lost me.
Yeah. So knowing everything is all that it is, we've got contrast in that. So if you could box everything, which you can't, but we'll say you can. So if you could box everything, contrast is in that box because it's part of us. It's a reflective aspect of self that we acknowledge and aware. Yet if it comes to a point that creates that reaction, is it serving something to know something more about ourselves, whether we want to know or not, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going from the curious place to think, what is the trigger that's creating it to even come up to play?
Yeah.
So we go into 10,000 people. So even go back, two contrasts. Okay, so last week you played in Vanessa at home and Vanessa at Mum's. So let's go to Vanessa at home and Vanessa at Surrey Hill. Was it Surrey Hill?
We went to Yark.
Yark. Okay. Yeah. Some Australian place. So who is Vanessa at home? And who is Vanessa in that moment? That 10,000 people and that safety thing.
Yeah, so in that moment I feel small, and I feel when people are pushing into it's almost like that feeling of I'm not visible, like it's like, can you see me? I'm here. Stop.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really good. So in respect to safety, if safety is the word that you used, what's the perspective it's delivering? Because it's a different perspective to the safety that we've just discussed.
Yeah, so there's something in here that's playing along the lines of I prefer to be on my own.
Yeah. That I have nothing. I'm just writing this down at the same time so I don't lose too much. That I have no issue with because we all do it. Yet in finding that it's the same space anywhere, as we know, choice and preference, yes. My big thing here is, what are you telling me? The significance of you being small and not being noticed. Mm-hmm. There is something huge in that. Mm-hmm. And so where are you not, where are you feeling this in your whole entire being? Because it's coming to play through what you believe is safety and that whole, and then you've contrasted, hang on, you've contrasted it by saying, I'm like small and not being noticed, but now and then you've contrasted, but I prefer to be alone sometimes. So now we've got two total contrasts. You want to be seen, but you want to be on your own. So what message are you sending out to the universe, which is, you know, the reflective self, which puts you in this huge group of 10,000 people, which is all cool, yet you're having that internal reaction? Can you see where I'm going?
I can, and it still feels quite murky for me. But I get that there's something in there, and for a long time in my life, I've not particularly liked large groups. Like, the moment the group gets large, I don't feel comfortable.
Okay, well, comfortable. Yep. And so we'll use that, just one word, comfortable. So what's comfortable in reflection to your younger life, go childlike life? When in life haven't you not felt comfortable?
As a child.
Mm-hmm. I'm bypassing the bits and pieces. I want to go straight to the child.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of my childhood.
No, nor do I, but that's okay. So if I ask you the question, when in life have you not felt comfortable? And that's the first thought.
What's the first thought? So the memory that's coming up that I'm just going to go with, because
cool.
It's come up for a reason, is when I was younger, we used to holiday with another family.
Sorry. Yep.
What a bizarre thing to do. We used to holiday with them all the time, and they had 2 children, and I've got a brother, so all 3 of them were older than me. I was the youngest, and they used to they used to pick on me a little bit, being the youngest.
Yeah.
But one day they actually, this is so horrible when I say it out loud. We were holidaying somewhere near a train line, and the train line was like overhead on a bridge.
Yeah.
And they actually said to me, Vanessa, there's $1 on the coin on the track. When I put my head up, the train was coming straight at me.
Wow.
And started blasting its horn.
Wow.
So I can laugh about it now, but also know that in that moment I felt such intense fear and such upset that these people who were older and in my mind should have been looking after me had done that to me.
Yeah. No, that would have left an emotional memory ripple in the frequency, no doubt, because of the reaction you would have had. The vibration in the cell memory would have just continued to play out, and even in that little incident, for an example, can reflect, the vibration of fear, the vibration of not feeling comfortable, all those not feeling safe, would then ripple out to something like 10,000 people in that experience.
Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense to me, and the whole experience. Have come to an awareness, but probably not an understanding, for the reason you even created for them to do that. Because as a young child, you're looking at them like saying, they picked on me. Really, how you're talking to yourself as a young child is going to be reflected through their actions.
Yeah.
So, an understanding as we do now today, that even your expectations of them to look after you was an expectation outside yourself.
Yeah.
And they were reflecting that back to you.
Yeah.
So now we've come to an awareness through this discussion and chat. Therefore, like Cindy, the opportunity for the shift is allowing this. So you're now coming to the cell memory, even though we can just, it is what it is. This is just this is a play of understanding of a process, if you believe in processes. But a cell memory, you've so you've got this fear, lack of comfort, and them not caring, playing in the cell, and now you're formulating you're talking to the cell and telling it the story of understanding and acceptance. It blends the frequency to not be a dominant soul in your being.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a more balanced playing ground. So you have those more, just chilled out experiences instead of the big experiences. Not saying that the 10,000 people was a big experience for you, but say you went out and had 10,000 people next weekend, you'd find it probably wouldn't even affect you.
Okay. Right.
Because it's that simple of just bringing an awareness, and coming to peace with that space, which is, we will call a memory, a cell, or an alternate reality, or one that's playing exactly, it's whatever you want to believe it to be. It's almost that you're meeting it, and then instead of it dominating a space, even though subconsciously you don't know what's going on, it's still going because it's never really. This is how you described it, is how it's sitting.
Yeah.
So your description was, being picked on, the fear of it. So that's the memory that's related to that cell. Yeah. So you've automatically gone now from your perspective of looking, and it's going, oh yeah, but I probably didn't think much. Look, whenever we start thinking, however we start talking to ourselves, we've got this whole thing running in ourselves. So therefore you've already created the story and they're playing it back to you. So they were matching you way back then, but now we've kind of go, okay, I get it. And it's kind of nullifying it into the ether to be absolutely no reason for it to play back to you that way. Okay. I just had to dig a little bit because I knew there was something I can feel. So in your energy field, for me, just as an awareness, it's like it was like a hook, and I just had to keep winding and winding and winding and winding till I found an understanding that look, and it could be bringing out my own stuff without me even knowing and doing it, because as we know, it's on the whole thing. But in doing that, I can just feel the peace and difference from when we started to I'm almost feeling smooth.
Yeah.
So that's a reflective energy play through conversation for me. I'm just very calmed by it. So whereas before it was very much not that space. So two total different perspectives on safety, but yet this is what I mean. Everyone has a different perspective on a word or a feeling. We describe it, but it doesn't actually mean it's exactly the same for everybody else. Mm-hmm. So the reason I laughed when you said you went with a family is like, oh my God, these two have just been away this week with a family trip. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's relevant, isn't it?
There were no train lines near where we were.
Nobody rode a sheep.
And it's too cold for snakes. Yeah, so you're okay. No, that was really cool. Thank you both for sharing perspectives. What about you guys on safety? Have you got anything relevant or not relevant, or anything you got from that actually, or feedback for them? Or I mean, all of you can speak out of your perspectives.
I got a lot out of that.
Mm-hmm. Shared with us.
Yeah.
That's no. This is really, even if you never went any further than
it's yeah.
important share, realizing that how one shifts everything and everyone. So yeah, go for it, Risha.
Yeah. Super thankful, and the whole time I was listening to Vanessa, I could kind of mirror it over what I was feeling. Just very poignant. It's been playing out today. Around safety and around self-worth and around the language I have in my head, and even some of the the stuff that I'm not getting back to or seeing clearly yet. Safety in childhood. That's definitely that hits a bunch of stuff for me. And that being aware that you've brought the people into your life that have brought those experiences into your life. Is that on my door? Someone's knocking.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why.
Hello? That's going to be a happy face.
you've got lots of people on that screen. That's more fun. While she's chatting, I think it's reiterating your story where you started. Cindy was very, you're thinking it's quite a mild little story to begin with, but how far we've dug and made lots of stories, because let's face it, we can make lots of stories, but the reality of checking in, that's actually has just continued on, like it was the root of a weed, and we keep pulling and pulling and pulling, and the roots just keeps getting, and that's why I said, irrelevant that I know what was triggering me in Vanessa's story could be something within myself at the end of the day. There was just a whole piece feeling. I'd like to dig Rochelle, if you want to go into anything and share on that, or even if you don't want to go into deep, and skim the surface and see what we can just open up gradually and transition your own understanding through it.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of times in my childhood I didn't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, lots of climbing up into cupboards and hiding, just hiding. So I would be safe. On feedback, definitely, being told that, that I wouldn't succeed, that I was going to grow up and be crazy.
Mm-hmm. So you've ticked those 2 boxes. Yeah. Hey, we've all succeeded because we're breathing, and we're all crazy. So
yeah. Most days I embrace, but man, today I just okay.
Okay. So today, if you could just describe today in an emotion, how would you describe it?
When you're riding your bike and you hit gravel and it wobbles.
Mm-hmm.
That was how I felt today, just on the wobble.
Can you give it a word? What's the first word? Don't analyze it.
Not peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Just not yeah, I wanted to sink into calm all day, but my present thought for me all day was just to be kind, to not beat myself up for feeling the way that I was feeling.
Cool.
Last night that I was mad at someone else, or I wanted to be angry at someone else, and then when I stopped, I realized I was mad at myself for being mad at them. I was under that feeling. I wasn't being nice to myself. I was actually tearing myself up under that. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to look at that.
Okay, big thing for you. What don't you want to look at yourself at?
When I'm being mean to myself.
No, in general.
No, in general, what don't I want to look at myself at? Feeling like a victim. Failing in some way.
Yeah, that's a huge thing I'm getting in you. And only because I've followed some of your posts, a yoga post, and I'll give you an example what I read tonight, which obviously is a reason to that you're bringing this to the table, because it popped up on my timeline tonight, and you made a comment, and this is really you'd think it was nothing, everyday stuff, but for me it was like, what is this, so it was showing me something I'd like to share with you. And you'd put a picture up of your yoga, and your mum mum commented something, and you'd commented to your mum, this is because it just came out, someone's commented on your whatever, and it was you saying, no, that's not me, mum.
She said, oh, you got that tattoo.
Yes. Yeah. And I kind of giggled going, shit, even I thought that was you. Seriously. And it humoured me, but what it's given me is more about who you present yourself, and and the whole fear around the succeeding and failing thing, which, you know, if we listen to the words that you're using, that's come from that lack of self-worth and that lack of self-love and that lack of self-thing. And it's almost like when there's confrontation, because you've got quite a bit of wisdom around you, and how you share and how you analyze and how you want, you've got, I believe, this could be a load of shit and take it with a grain of salt, I believe that you've got a really good filter system that stops it going too deep. And it's more about vulnerability, especially you'd probably be harder on yourself. I think that's a given for all of us. But for those that accept you as you are, yet you struggle to accept who you are as you are. We here all see you as who you are, this, you know, the beautiful person you are, yet we probably see you more beautiful than you can see yourself. And allowing to be seen without judgment. I think, you know, that's you can slap me around if I'm going down the wrong channel, but that's how it feels for me for you. I know, and I just, you know, I'd love to, whether we do it together, not here, whatever, but I'd love to sit with you, because I think there's so much that so much to bloom out of the garden that you're weeding, if you want to put it into a, you know, some sort of picture, because you know it all. This is the whole thing. You know it all, but the process that you're using is complicating the shit out of things, and it's actually making it and see, when I'm saying that, I'm getting really, really solid energy shit there. So it's kind of, for me, chill the fuck out. You know, you're already perfect as you are. Play with it here if you want to play with it. Don't have to. I couldn't give a shit either. Do it over a cup of tea with me if you want to. But if you don't want to, that's okay too. I just want to know, I just want, because I can see how beautiful you are, and I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like you're holding back to show this beauty, and the vulnerability that you let go of and embrace that for what it is, and get that deeper knowing and understanding yourself. It's like a zip that just goes, and it's an easy jacket to take off, if that makes sense. But yeah, don't be hard on yourself, because, mate, and whatever's gone on in your story is valuable to you, and it can only be valuable to you. Yet, if you want to share, it's valuable to you. But I couldn't give a shit if you share anything or not. It's more about you. And I just, okay? Play with it like you like.
Every time you say shit, I just think about how good manure is for a garden. Yep.
Yeah, well, that's why I keep getting pictures of garden when I'm talking to you, and that's the whole thing. There's a real clever, we talked about this last week. Were you here last week? No. So we talked about this real clever thing that we format in ourselves, and it's kind of like I joked about it being the garage door, then we can come in the side door, and I believe people create this filter system, and we don't even know we run it by the end, because at the end of the day it's so automatically programmed, it's protecting ourselves from looking any deeper within ourselves. And it's almost like as soon as we kind of let that garage door up and let it all go, it's kind of like, I'm home, you know. So anytime, you just holler, or not. Yeah. Thanks, gorgeous. Did you want to share anything else on that, or are you quite happy to?
Both. I just feel a lot better already. It was
cool.
Very nice to just
Thanks,
share.
love. Yeah, that's a Kiwi thing. Good balance. Gabrielle. How about, hang on, let's all just for something different. I want feedback on this. So with Rochelle's experience and expression of how it is as it is, because it's really perfect. What energy can you feel in this Zoom room at this moment? If you could label it.
Relief.
Relief?
I feel relief.
Awesome. There's a real interesting thing going on tonight. Go, Cindy.
I feel a bit anxious after Rochelle's play, but I felt relief, like a real sense of calm after Vanessa's. I don't know. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. That's very important. Okay, so be aware that what Rochelle's bringing out, Cindy, is our own. So in this room at the moment, we've got relief, we've got anxious, we've got calm. They're all elements of all of us. So whatever's going on, we're all filtering through that. And that's what I want to make aware is as someone transitions through something, we all do, because we are the whole. You know, if you're looking from the perspective, we're all one. So what moves in one moves in us all. And also, sorry?
I felt really sad there.
That's cool. And I don't think there's a right or wrong. I'm just saying owning and being aware of how we're sitting in the present moment, away from the words, away from everything. Just just feel that energy zone as well, because that's an experience and a place to play, just as it is to sit here and talk. In other words, you could turn up here and just sit in the room, and have this experience, and it would be whatever you got out of that moment. Vanessa.
I feel really heavy in my stomach after.
Okay.
So that's
cool.
what I'm aware of, and what I get when I sit there is that I feel like that there's part of me that wants to go, Rochelle, please go and have that cup of coffee with Alison. It will be amazing and beautiful. And then I think the stomach's going, it's whatever Rochelle chooses is fine.
Yeah.
Choice and there is nothing you need to do.
It's already done. Yeah.
But I can definitely feel the part of me that's just wanting you to go and have the cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I like that awareness. It's interesting, and the strength of you speaking out, Vanessa, is huge. Just acknowledging that. Vanessa, for the Vanessa I met 6 months ago, would have quietly chatted away in her head and taken something. But the Vanessa that's sitting here tonight actually vulnerably spoke out about the heaviness she's feeling for. So I think that's really a thing in that, understanding yourself and being okay, and there's no right or wrong, and sharing, because we spoke about it, I think, at a cafe one day, is speaking about something that's truthful, and instead of withholding the truth, because it allows somebody to shift. And if you don't give them that allowance to shift, I reversed it. If somebody knew something that would trigger you to give you something within yourself, to understand more about yourself, would you want them to do it? And mine's a yes. So then why would I hold back? And this is, and at the end of the day, Cindy gets it every week from me. I give it to everybody really, but Cindy plays the game of being picked on every week. She's here. But, and it's not really picked on, as we know, but I think it's just being that awareness that we're all shifting, and there's no right or wrong, and just don't beat yourself up. So now that you've sat with it a bit longer, Gabrielle, because I saw you tune into your another state of self, what's your feel? What was your feel?
Protected. I'm really, really sad in my heart.
Sad in heart.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So all these are triggers that have come from one conversation, yet have all triggered something within our own experience. Yes, it can be intimate. So this is a real curiosity thing for me at the moment, is which I've spoken about before. We're all one, so it's mine as much as it's anyone else's. Then you've got the empathy. Oh, but I'm feeling for somebody else. But that person is us. So knowing that we and we're going to use the terminology hold a space, which is no space to hold. Choose to play in a playground a way we choose to play, which is just another format of holding a space. But the reality of that is that we have choice. So where we are all sitting, so if you took everybody's space and played and put it on a frequency scale, I could be 56 and Gabrielle could be 80 and Cindy could be 64 and Vanessa 72 and Rochelle could be 59. The whole thing is, if you were to go from this Zoom room, it sends out into the more mass consciousness the balance of the frequencies. Do you know what I mean? So we're all inputting our frequency. I'm just using measurement as an example. So we're all putting our frequency out into the whole being. So what formulates that comes back into the humanity experience, into the life experience that we experience every day, is formulated by every frequency that we put out as units that make the whole. So to change the world, when we change our frequency, becomes a change in the whole ripple effect that the world will play back to us. So we won't get the harder yards to walk if we were determined hard or easy. It would be more softer. There'd be less wars, there'd be less this, there'd be less that, there'd be less whatever, because the bulk of the frequency shifts from, if you would take, I think they use the word median in math, you add it up and get your average sort of frequency. So that's what I'm talking about, this room as an example. So for anybody listening, it would be like they add theirs into this and then that ripples out. So in every moment we hold a frequency from whatever degree we play life in, and then life plays it back to us. Admittingly that we can all see it from a different perspective that we choose to play it. But what I'm talking about is affecting the whole. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know I've rambled it slightly off, but I feel it's really relevant to understand that every frequency is affecting the whole. So the whole being delivered back to the world. So you're talking diseases, you're talking animals, you're talking everything. And as we change in frequency as a whole, it changes the game plan that comes to us in our experiences. Which is, if you looked at 1902 to 2018, so a shift of experience, a shift of the transitional change. We will call it evolution if evolution is such a thing. Anyway, rambled enough, but I felt we needed to understand that every frequency has a relevant part in the whole play. Man, stunned mullets, because I just went tangenting, but hey, it's okay. It is what it is. Let's go back. Anyway, okay, Gabrielle, we were coming to you anyway, live from lifeofali on the chair. What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'm still a little bit aware of my heart. Yeah.
Okay, is it your heart?
Yeah, it feels like my heart.
Cool. That's all I wanted to know. I just didn't want to separate self. That's all. I just wanted to anchor that in. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yep. Cool. Yeah. And it is really what it is, but I think it's a really good playground to acknowledge. And it means that you can allow anybody to be anybody without needing to change anything. You don't need to know a story. You don't need to do anything. Because what I'm showing you all here is that it's affecting the whole just by what we're doing through one person's sharing a fraction of a story. And you don't, that's what I mean. You don't need a story. It can change by just being present here. Yet, I'm going to now give you contrast. Yet, however we leave the room and whatever we feed ourselves after that will become our playground in those moments.
Which is always the way.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've created. Is it a way? Who knows? It is tonight. I know. Yeah. There was a thing on. Yeah. It's taken the release. It took the valve off, so you could just go. Yeah. Anyone speak up about anything or feedback or, on anything we've tangented on, anyone's topics, anyone's things, anything that's coming to mind, just share. Because my daughter tells me I talk a lot, and it's all cool. But no, I'm aware that we've all got things going on and thinking. So like I've just tangented something about affecting the whole, but you all got relevant conversations that could be worthy of someone happen to pick this up or even share tonight for us. That's relevant for someone in a moment.
I had this is a bit of a tangent, I think, but I had an interesting afternoon today. Just to give everyone else context, I bumped into Ali.
Oh yeah, that's right, we did too. Yeah.
At Conscious Cravings. And I was sharing something with you, Ali, and you said to me, you just threw in the question, you said, I can't remember the exact words you used, but it was something along the lines of, were you being yourself? Like as I suggesting maybe I hadn't been myself in a certain situation.
Yeah.
But what it was really interesting, because what then happened in the afternoon for me was that I had, but I had this understanding of all these, like, it's almost like I revisited all these moments in my life when I wasn't myself.
Yeah. But in fairness to say, you've just visited multitude aspects of yourself, and the choice and playground that you choose is slightly different.
Completely. But yeah, anyway, it was like, I was like, wow, like it was just, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
it was very interesting because it brought up a lot of feeling about, and I ended up just being with myself and I was writing to myself and
awesome.
And just apologizing for those moments when I made, when I didn't listen to myself or I didn't.
Seriously? You're apologizing to yourself? Go figure.
Yeah, I felt like I wanted to acknowledge it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. What I'm saying is there's a choice.
Yeah.
Because it's already okay. But if you're there, it's only not okay if you see it as not okay.
Yeah, it's not interesting. Yeah. So I decided.
It wasn't okay. No, but look, honestly, there's no wrong or right. And I think there's multitudes of ways. Some people like to write it and share, and other people will ramble like I do because I just kind of just go down the path. But I've been picking up myself in like probably the awareness mode is I had that body tension thing. I think I spoke. When I get body tension when I feel. And it's just not me, and I have to breathe, and just that's been playing around a little bit lately too. So I'm kind of curious of whatever it is. I'm just aware of it. Maybe because I spoke about it, it's come to visit me again. I don't know, and it really doesn't matter. We'll talk about it tonight. It'll be next week. I'll be all gone again, eh? That whole, and it's not as if. So I think you brought up a real valid thing where you weren't being yourself, and I think this is we maybe can just lighten that a little bit. And that's when I said to you, well, it's not about not being yourself because we're always being ourselves, but it's more about who we prefer and enjoy to play than who we aren't, And I think it's lightening that judgment factor on what's right or wrong, or I don't like this one and this one when they all are you. But this is a preference. Yeah.
And I feel like it was kind of coming off what Vanessa talked about last week about being a different person.
Yeah.
In a different environment.
Yeah.
And
with the mum and
certainly being able to relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's being able to relate to it.
Actually, it's quite funny. My daughter watched that excuse me. And she said, I heard you talk about me and Nana. I said, oh, yeah, I know Nana watches some of them. I don't know if she'd get right the way through to that point. I don't know.
So
and
cute.
if she does, oh, well, so be it. No.
But I did like what you said, what you picked up, Ali, in saying that it was a choice about how I then responded to that. Like the fact that I felt to write, and as opposed to just being, oh yeah, okay, cool, that's all fine.
So in the past, is it a condition? Have you written to yourself in the past, or has it been a way of? So is it a habitual understanding of a format of play, or
I think my thing is that if I write to myself, or if I write, then it can help me connect with the feeling and then let the feeling go.
Yeah.
And I think that is a bit of a process thing.
Which is interesting. Yeah. So I'm
really wanting to bring my processes to light so that I can let them go.
Yeah, we were actually we and that was another thing we reiterated. Something about I wrote it down somewhere too. Processes, and we've all formulated, and look, I think I said last week, a process if it works for you, it works for you. I really couldn't give to a shit. But what if a process is only a process as you think you need it to be a process? When it's not really that hard at all, hard, it's not even hard because people enjoy processes. So whatever, it's not that process at all, it's already here. So the reality, if we use Gabrielle for an example, in that experience would be that she chose a process to write the letter, yet the reality and the awareness and the epiphany of, oh my God, this, and it's moved straight away.
Yes.
Or you come for a cup of tea tonight and Vanessa visits an old memory, and it's just, oh, okay, gone.
Yeah.
With no real, I mean, yes, I dug around because I could feel something, but the reality is that all she did was go, oh, yeah, okay. She hooked into the emotion, she felt it, yes, she acknowledged it, woof, gone. Same thing, different way. And there is no right or wrong way. And I think that's a big thing we emphasize, is that find your own way. If it works for you and it does whatever, who gives a shit? If you can find peace through the process, peace through the process. But if you're not finding peace through the process, then maybe reassess the whole. Because sometimes the formulation of a process is just, whose process is it and whose formula are you running? It's like learning to be following spiritual paths, and everyone has a B, C, D to F. And then you'll go, no, I want to start at Z, but you can't do that because this is the process. And then so you're not actually doing what you want to be doing, you're doing what you've been told to get to where you want to go, which is all okay. But it's the awareness that what's going on with me, and coming to peace with that. So you can go A to F. And then say, when you leave, fuck that, I'll start at Z and I'll do it my own way. But I've got this formulation, and now I'm going to take that and make it my own and create my own. So almost like the way we were saying, Vanessa, when we were talking, and enhancing someone's own process so they can work out and how to find it themselves without having to have somebody to go to find it. And not saying there's no need for those people, because there will always be need for somebody to share an understanding in a different way. And some people find that's just as easy as what we've seen now, sitting around having a cup of tea. Some people will go into therapy for whatever, but some might find it a lot, it's just as easy shift, a transitional shift. And look, it's, if we can use Cindy coming from whatever formulation that you've created and done and worked on and whatever, to the point of however you've changed to this state of experience, you could probably descriptively see and understand what I'm talking about and the change. Do you know what I mean? Like where you were at the beginning to where you are now. In comparison to if you worked on, I don't know, but if you worked on yourself for whatever process of time, it could have been a lot longer to get to that point, to this point.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. So you get what I'm saying, eh? Like you understand. Yeah.
It's so much quicker and easy for me now. Like this is just, it flows. It's quick. It's done.
I think, do you know what? I think it comes down to that first thing that we ever did was the authentic vulnerability, you know, that ripping that jacket off and confrontational exposure. And I look, honestly, I've only watched a couple of videos and I've only just started watching them lately. And and I've actually enjoyed going back. And that might have been my own vulnerability, looking at myself on a screen. I don't know, but I haven't actually had any interest up until this point. But now it's kind of more so, I gained a lot of respect of listening to some of the stories and some of the sharings and some of the things that have come out. Yet I know the ripple effect that's not only had on our own personal growth here, but the personal growth in other people listening. You know, I know people tune in now and they're following it because they're picking up, and all it is just telling life as it is and not writing it as a right or wrong, and just coming to this multitude of perspectives is how we can understand what we're living and how we're living and what we're doing. And then it becomes their choice, and they can take a piece of Gabrielle's story, a piece of Rochelle's story, a piece of Vanessa's story, a piece of Cindy's, and like certain bits and take, you know, and then both, they're like, oh, and that epiphany, this is how it actually works for me. Yeah, so that's my ramble. Again, I've rambled. Anyone else want to ramble? God, you're all quiet tonight. It's very peaceful in here. Michelle, got any feedback on anything? What's ticking over in your mindset?
Having coffee with you.
Ah, yeah, baby.
This to end so I can paste the message.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It'll be all done in 5 seconds. It'll be done in that first sip. You know, yeah,
already happened.
Yeah, absolutely processed. Yeah, and just not having any judgment on what, no expectations. I think if you can just have no expectations and processing moment by moment. Vanessa.
I'm conscious. I've been hearing about something else that happened to me during the week where I went out for lunch with a friend of mine who lost her husband about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's still not coping very well with that and has spent 5 years in counselling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And at one stage I actually said to her, you know, I said something to her and she said, "You sound exactly like my counsellor."
Oh.
And I felt really, I think the link here for me is with Rochelle and you saying that, you know, even when someone says nothing, you get something out of it.
Yeah.
She wouldn't tell me what was going on in her mind, and I felt really frustrated with that because I felt like if she could just tell me her story that was playing, I could offer her a different
Savior.
Yeah. but as long as she was saying nothing,
yeah,
you know, you don't know what's going on.
So the gift she gives you is there's no need to know what's going on either, and no need. Your presence is enough, and offering what you offer in all authentic truth, not holding back and watching those walking on glass, because, you know, just seeing it as it is, and being who you are, being Vanessa, and not fitting into another aspect that you don't enjoy, pretending to be Vanessa. Well, you know what I mean, the other fragments of. I think, the thing is, that may be her journey, that may be her thing, that might be just what she's here to do and experience, and what do we know? And some people actually thrive on that stuff. They don't actually want to get out of it.
Yeah.
Or they're so far in they can't see a way out of it. And you know, and I'm not to say, God, I'm no counsellor, but I'm not to say there's right or wrong ways. There's just, when someone's ready, it'll happen. And at the end of the day, you offer a light. If you want, you know, that's what you'd like. If you've got someone that you can offer something to and share something freely with, and and you know it's just what you would want if it was you, then that's all you can do. Whether they take it or not, it's a personal experience. It's a personal choice. Any reaction we have from that obviously is ours. You know, the frustration which you realise and whatever, you know, all those other bits and pieces that she would have shared with you and not being able to help her, or you know, even the curiosity of not needing to know. And I think this is the whole thing with and we'll use Rochelle as an example, is you don't need to know. If she wants to share it, she can share it. If she don't want to share it, she don't want to share it. And I'm not going to judge her A or B or C or D. She's just like every single one of us, having her own experience her way, and it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But it's always there if you don't offer it, it's better to be offered than not offered. That's what I'm saying. And then just let it go. But if it keeps niggling that you want to save somebody, well, we're only using this as an example because I know that you would have worked through whatever. But, you know, if it's niggling at you, then it's yours.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you won't be the only person in the world doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah. But
attracting it even is something, you know, that's teaching you more about yourself. This has been a real peaceful, it's really interesting energy tonight. So I'm kind of like, yeah, it's all perfect. And I'm like, wow, we haven't really done much. We're just sitting there chatting away. But I know if I go and watch it, I've thought that on every single one thus far. And then I go, oh, actually, that was quite a good point. Yeah, that's, gosh, Vanessa, that was, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Cindy, anything to wind up on?
No, it was great. Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. And I just wanted to thank Rochelle. Your play was just really powerful. It was amazing. Not that everybody's was, but it was just.
Yeah, I think there's a really strong awareness. I'd like to. The point that you bring to my table for me is there's a strong awareness that you don't have to say anything anyway. And standing your space, not just to fit into the space, is really important. Okay.
Yeah.
Gabrielle.
I don't have anything to say.
No.
I'm good. That was good.
Yeah, it's actually been quite a serene feeling, this arena at the moment. I spoke about you today and tuned up and you were there. So thank you for hearing me talking about you. And that was really appropriate too. So I'm loving how fast those things are coming together. But honestly, if you're, you know where I am, and if anything really rattles your boat, but I know you're all okay. We'll do coffee anyway. You just holler when you're ready, Rochelle, and pick your place. Yes, have a coffee. Yes. Although I had a chai today, and then we stayed for 2 hours, so I had a coffee.
I was thinking, what time is your coffee cutoff? Like, what time of the day do you stop drinking coffee and switch over to tea or smoothies, or does it matter?
No, it's really funny. I was just looking at external addictions and what it gives you, and I went to New Zealand and started drinking coffee every day, and the habit I got into was very noticeable, and I'm just winging now, though. Like, I actually had no intention. I'm just looking at the addiction for the need. So I'm aware of when I'm having a coffee, am I actually wanting coffee? You know what I mean? It's just and really, does it matter? No, it doesn't. I'm just curious of, has this got a control over me that I need it? And then, why would you even think that? Just enjoy it. Because in the moment, it'll present itself whether you have it or not.
Yeah.
You know, I often go to the girls, okay, what am I having today? And they'll look at me, a large latte or a regular. And I often let them make the decision.
Beautiful. The girls.
Anyway, I think it's we're pretty mellow tonight. It'll be, Thank you so much for all arriving, tuning up. and sharing.
I'm wondering if Cindy's still on the screen because I've been enjoying the progression of it getting lower and lower.
I know. I go to
She's not coming up on my boxes at the moment, so I'm wondering if she's slipped totally off.
I moved from sitting up to lying down.
Yeah. That's it. Totally relaxed, and she's just getting in the process that she's just about ready to knock off, so she gets her sleep in before work. Because she's so excited to go to work. So, like, you know.
Totally. I'm going in early tomorrow.
Oh, well, thank you all, and we'll catch you when we catch you.
Yeah.
Okay. Night, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Thanks, Gabrielle.
Bye.
Turn it off.
I'm doing it now. See you, bye.